freewheeling cavalcade of circular motion, thus defined by the octagon table of double-wide mental introspection and dedicated utilitarian outward thinking in defense of zero content. Translation: we ain't got nothing. Oh man, hey folks, coming to you again, another iteration of Dude After Dark. This one, of course, being a new iteration and, well, a completely genuine iteration. This is the first time around doing it in the year of our Lord, 2022. So, officially, we now have ourselves a brand spanking new year, and all kinds of manner of, well, hopefully new stuff coming down the pike, but you never know what you're going to get when you're dealing with, stuff. And I'm not just talking about any kind of stuff. I'm talking about, stuff coming down the pike that, well, you really, truly just never, ever really know what you're going to get. It could be said that, well, death, death by snoo is one of those things that could be, death by yeah, it could definitely come back and smack you upside the head. Okay, so anyway, looking at things as it is, we are now looking at things as it is. So, is there anything that you have going and is different there, Mr. Sound Guy? Coming out, well, of course, right out of the new year, we have to get a new battle cry. So what should we say? Well, we can't really say it the way that the guy says it, or he just sues the crap out of you for saying. So, what would be our version of the sports announcer guy? Like, let's have something interesting happen. How would that come out there, Sound Guy? Let's get ready to... No, there's no rumbling going on there. That's just let's get ready to wee. All right, so look at his stories coming down the pike and interesting things, and obviously, nuances and minutia. What do we find ourselves looking at? First of, oh man. Talk about the classic line about the emperor's not wearing any clothes. Yeah. What do we have going on here? Well, AOC, that darling child of the socialist squad. Well, let's just say that New York is getting positively. How do I say this without saying this? New York is just getting. They're getting positively by coronavirus. So it could possibly be said that, well, New York is suffering death by snoo. No, dude, it is not death by snoo. It's death by wee. Could be said that New York is New York is just New York is it's suffering coronavirus. Yeah, it's suffering coronavirus, okay? So it could be said that, truthfully, the way that New York is going right now, they are suffering the onslaught of coronavirus. So where is AOC currently? She is down in Miami Beach. Yeah, so looking at this, hang on a second, let me go back to what I was looking at. She is currently sitting on a beach, sucking on, frosty adult beverages. And New York is getting raped. that's the only way to say it. New York is positively getting raped, and she's sitting down in Miami Beach, sucking on adult beverages. And that was on Thursday, but it's getting hammered by a record number of coronavirus cases. This one's coming in from truthpress.news. Truthpress.news. So a National Review reported that, according to photographs obtained by the publication, AOC was seated outside of Doraku Sushi and Izakaya in Miami Beach Thursday afternoon, raising a cocktail in one hand and checking her phone on another. Quote, New York smashed its single-day COVID case record for the second straight day Thursday, reporting at least 74,207 new positives as the Omicron surge stretches hospitals further, ABC News reported. Meanwhile, hospitalizations continue to climb. But all is good for her because she's down in, that's right, a red state that would basically have none of these restrictions. Right. So she's in a free state. So she's in a free state, able to do things, walk around completely maskless, having no restrictions on her ass whatsoever. Notice these guys are a lot of do as I say, not as I do. And what did she do? She went down to a free state so she could basically suck down adult beverages with zero restrictions. Yeah. Martina Sasquatch, Pine Tar for Sandy 2021. Oh, jeez. Oh, man. Well, that's a start. I did actually look something up there, Martina Sasquatch. I was trying to remember the phrase of the guys who are like, the mechanics slash religious figures in Warhammer 40K, the techno mages. That was the phrase that was not in my head. And I was driving around the other day and I'm like, oh, yeah, techno mages. Crap. Of course, the mythos on, I can only begin to tell you, like, scratching the surface, but the mythos on Warhammer 40K, you go into the Warhammer 40K wiki, and oh my God, oh my stars and garters, you're going to be reading up about like this group, that group, all the history they're in. Because you got to remember, Warhammer 40K is 40,000 years, like, AD. So there's a whole heck of a lot of interesting tech going on. And the Sardis, definitely the Sardis. Those, yeah, definitely those guys. Anyway, looking at things, like I said, basically she's down there enjoying the life of Riley, and New York is just kind of, how can I say this without saying this? What's going on in New York City? New York City is just, yeah, and Guido and Fredo and all the rest of those morons. Thank goodness they're out, but the rest of the people stuck in the city are just going. Yeah, they're stuck right in the middle of it. Nothing's changing, and they're inundated. Okay, but anyway, so she's down there sucking beers or sucking drinks. There's a picture of her like holding this, like basically like a martini glass with some obvious adult beverage in it, toasting her friend. They didn't identify the guy, but I love the fact that they're going on and on about this. But AOC's decision to hang out in the red state of Florida amid the historic number of coronavirus cases in the city she represents comes after she repeatedly attacked Senator Ted Cruz, Republican of Texas, for briefly going to Cancun, Mexico earlier this year as the state of Texas dealt with the storm crisis. Ever notice how these Democrats really seem to just do as I say, not as I do? Yeah. And they don't get held up for the things that they're doing that are exactly the same as everybody else because they're a bunch of blanking hypocrites. Oh, okay. This is another one. I'm sure YouTube is really, truly going to appreciate this when I start talking about viruses. Yeah, I start talking about viruses. It's simply a case of, well, you guys really only want it one way because you don't want to have all the information out there, YouTube. You dick. Yeah, because unfortunately, YouTube seems to think that everybody is just a member of the groups of retard alert. Retard alert, class. Yeah, they don't think that you're smart enough to think for yourself after reading some information and actually disseminating it to your own brain pan and figuring out how things work. And of course, changing things up for how you see stuff. And of course, get off my screen, this stupid little blinking thing. But the problem is, of course, YouTube will never, ever let both sides of the full equation be out because they're truly going to be only on one side of the equation because that fits their template. Yeah. Meep, meep. Okay. Thanks, there's sound guy. Meep, meep. Yeah, okay. Sound guy's now into the meep, meep. Sorry. Well, at least it's better than him simply doing the constant case of, oh, no, would you stop? Stop. Just stop. Okay? Stop. Martina Sasquatch. Have I heard of the Death Corps of Krieg? Possibly. I don't know. I may have to look that one up, going back into the wiki again, but there's so many different groups of guys, that really truly can just be badasses in 40K. I mean, it's just, what side is what side, which, Pantheon's fighting which other group of guys. And of course, the orcs and everybody else. Oh, man, it gets really, really deep. I will tell you, though, that, a good batch of squig and fungus curry would make any happy orc just, one of those things. Let's see. Scrolling. Oh, yeah. Talking enough about, AOC. Yeah, it's just I'm tired of hearing about these, libtards doing their just, they're around. Okay, just go away. No more. Stop. Okay, no more. We're good. Anyway, going back into the news, folks. This one also coming from truthpress.news. The FDA has warned that Pfizer's COVID pills cause life-threatening reactions when used with many common medications. Oh, my stars and garters. It just gets deeper and deeper with this stuff. Really, man? So what's going on now? Pfizer's antiviral oral drug developed to treat COVID-19 may cause severe or life-threatening effects when used with common medications, including anticoagulants, which I happen to be on, some antidepressants, and some cholesterol-lowering statins, which I also happen to be on. According to the Food and Drug Administration, and that's a PDF that they're now putting out, but the FDA does not recommend Prevloxid for those with severe kidney. Hang on a second, got to pop up. With severe kidney or liver disease. The FDA on December 22nd granted emergency use authorization, or a EUA, for Pfizer's COVID-19 treatment pill as treatment for mid to moderate cases of COVID-19 in patients from 12 years of age. Praxlovid. Oh, I hate these stupid drug names. Praxlovid was the first oral medication of its kind authorized by the FDA to treat COVID-19 with the aim of reducing the need for hospitalization before patients became too ill from the infection. Just give me 1 second here. I got to wash that load of balderdash down. Quote, this authorization provides a new tool to combat COVID-19 at a crucial time in the pandemic as new variants emerge, and promises to make antiviral treatment more accessible to patients who are at high risk for progression to severe COVID-19, stated Patrizia Cavazzoni, director of the FDA Center for Drug Evaluation and Research. Praxlovid consists of a cocktail of two drugs, the first being, Nirmatrelvir, which stops the SARS-CoV-2 virus from replicating, while the second component acts to prolong the duration of Nirmatrelvir. The EUA came a month after the federal government announced it would purchase 10 million courses of the drug. Earlier in November, the Biden administration already purchased some 10 million courses of the drug in a more than $5 billion agreement. Now, follow the money here, folks. In the Congress and the Senate of this United States, the most amount of lobbying dollars spent by any corporation in the United States is not military, it's not banking, it's not realty, it's not even lawyers, it is big pharma. Okay? Know it for what it is. Big pharma spends 80% of all the lobbying dollars to make those guys in Congress and Senate kowtow, bend over, take it up the tailpipe, however you wish to call it, to their will for those things that they're putting out there to make scads of cash on. Now, if you want to really, really, really know the dirty, sucky part about this, there's guys that literally work at the FDA, leave, go work for the drug organizations. Then the government, in their infinite wisdom, goes, oh, we can't live without you. Could you please come back to civilian service? We need you to go back to the FDA or, some other health organization. And we need your quote unquote air quotes. We need your expertise to run these things because only you can do them correctly. Yeah, exactly, sound guy. That's right up there with just, I really don't want to get too terribly disgusting here, but it's right up there with well,
Come
how,
on, squeal. But I pooped from there.
it is right up there with the way that these guys are basically giving us the old deliverance treatment, and it could be said that we're paying for it. So anyway, this is the other thing too, is also this is kind of unproven technology, and it has all kinds of secondary drug interactions that are really kind of not cool, because those people who have the comorbidities like heart disease and all these other things. I mean, I'm not going to be completely dishonest here and say, I don't have heart disease, but I will say that my heart was fine. It was my plumbing that sucked. But anyway, being on blood thinners and being on statins, there's obviously some things I got to watch out for. I don't drink a lot in the first place, but I'm not gonna be like pounding down shot after shot and scads of alcohol and just kind of really sketching the process up. Some people do, but I'm not one of those people. But pending the EUA, the U.S. received doses starting in 2021 and throughout 2022 as part of the contract agreement with Pfizer Health and Human Services, stated in the statement. Health and Human Services Xavier Becerra on November 18 emphasized the importance of getting vaccinated, even though Paxlovid becomes available. I'm going to throw something else in there. On YouTube, you can bite my sack on this one. I'm going to throw something else out on there. Standard acquired immunity from having COVID and then having herd immunity is what worked in Sweden. Okay? They basically said, you know what? We're just going to let everybody get it. Those people that die, it's unfortunate victims, but we're just simply going to let everybody go through the course of getting this, having this, passing it along, being sick with it, and then beating it, and then having the natural immunity then acquired from having a disease, catching the disease, and building up the immunity to it, from making your body bolster its own immune response and saying, okay, this stuff is nasty. I'm not going to duke it out with it on my own. I really haven't been sick since I had the first batch of COVID. I mean, I know there's Omicron floating around, and obviously, there's a case of, well, you should be really careful about these things and whatnot. But the only thing I really did was I amped up my daily C intake. That was really all I did. I bolstered my vitamin C intake. Obviously, I take a lot of vitamin D. The comorbidity for most people, usually it was a case of them doing blood exams and, looking at their blood screens. And those people were deficient in vitamin D3 or vitamin D complex, however you wish to say, but they were deficient in vitamin D. Every single person that died from COVID had low vitamin D in their bloodstream. Remember that. Vitamin D, turmeric, all these natural things, high vitamin C in your bloodstream. Of course, it's water soluble, so you need to take it all the time. We're the only animal on the planet that doesn't make its own vitamin C, okay? So, orange being obnoxious. So anyway, it's a case of, you can use these natural acquired things as supplements to bolster your immune system. And if you do get it, it's a light form. If you do get it, you're fine. Okay. I'm not even going to worry about, YouTube doing we have to censor your statements on the COVID virus. Oh, if you're feeling that ducky about it, go for it. If you feel froggy, jump. You already pulled one of my videos and you said, oh, don't do that again. We're going to give you a channel strike. I dare you to do that. I and I really want to cuss here. I blanking dare you to do that, okay? Anyway, so early in December, Pfizer announced the pill would be reducing the risk of hospitalization or death from the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party virus, by 89% when taken shortly after initial symptoms. Pfizer CEO Albert Bourla said on December 8th that told the CNBC that shipments of the pill will arrive in the United States, so the product will be available this month if it's approved. Wait a minute. The pill has arrived in the United States? Who the... No, I really, really want to cuss here. Who the beep is making the pill? Ugh. Wow. Just wow. But if you guys actually have to get on this crud, remember, there is, additional comorbidity to it, because you're taking a standard medication to survive. And oh yeah, if you take this one on top of it all, it might just be bad for you. Okay, so don't do that. If you can avoid it, don't do that. All right, because well, just yeah, you're gonna go flatline. Okay, don't do that to yourself. This one I find exceedingly interesting. Yeah, Martina Sasquatch in the room pointed out something else too. As if everybody forgot about the Gulf War syndrome and just ran to the Salt Lick. Yeah, those troops who got dosed with stuff. Oh, yeah, this is protecting you from anthrax. What are you shooting in my body? Well, it's approved by the U.S. government. It didn't answer my question, man. What is this stuff you're shooting in my body? Yeah. Bad juju. This one coming in also from truthpress.news. And this is something that anybody can see it for what it is in its complete and total honesty, easy consumption, and it's just blatant, okay? Americans fled blue states in 2021 while red states got a big surge in population. Now, classically, what they say is usually, I hope they don't bring their politics here, but they're moving here because they made their place suck. So anyway, Democrat Party is showing why people all over the world fled socialism to experience freedom in America during the Cold War, except they're recreating that migration pattern within the continental United States. No kidding. The COVID pandemic has been a pretense for governors to implement heavy-handed policies. And another stupid pop-up that have become extremely unpopular since the COVID pandemic policies began and really kicked back in July 2020. And until data was accrued up to July 2021, Americans fled blue states. Meanwhile, states of banned vaccine mandates saw a surge in population in the aggregate. A researcher laid out these migration patterns with charts she posted on Twitter. It shows posted in full below. The U.S. net domestic migration during COVID. Original post 23 December, 400,000 views. 27 December post shows important new content analysis. Answers to comments, corrects some data. Please review this and feel free to share. Presented on a series of 10 charts, graphics, and a source list. Chart number 1, net domestic migration, July 2020 to July 2021 by the 4 U.S. Census divisions. A huge influx into the Southern Division, and literally 144,000 rolling out of that area going south. The South picked up over 500,000 people. The Midwest lost a million, almost 123,000. The Northeast lost almost 400,000. So the South picked up 657,862 people in 1 year. Chart number 2 shows the domestic migration from July 2020 to July 2021 by 9 U.S. Census regions. The South picked up another 657,000. Chart 3, net migration versus vaccine mandates. 13 states have been blocked, banned mandates, received net increases of nearly 750,000 people. Conversely, over 800,000 people no longer call states home that have vaccine mandates. Base map, and in New York, NYT, black, blue, red, mine. It basically everybody's rolling to the free areas. Net migration by state, including political party designation. Comments from initial post charged a few party designations, saying city governor is an inadequate measure. I agree, it made changes to a handful of states based on criteria shown on chart number 10. And literally, it's like you see this massive shift of red to blue and how these things are flipping over. Yeah, I mean, it's showing that people don't want to live like that. Scroll. It gets really technical here, so I'm not going to get into the nuts and bolts of it. But essentially, almost 750,000 people rolled out of those states. Well, if you look at the voting blocks, that can flip states. That absolutely can flip states. And if you look at Florida, Florida is now a consistent red state. For the first time in a very long time, it's now consistently red. I don't know if you guys sorry about this one or not. Oh, YouTube, you're really going to not like this story. This one's coming from conservativefighters.com. Australia offers to pay $600,000 for severe vaccine side effects. Picking up a little guilt there, Nick Toir. Let's see. Report 79,000 people. The government now admits to severe vaccine side effects, offering some victims over 600,000 in cash and compensation. Australia. Well, they mandated this, and I got friends in Australia, and they're like, man, I couldn't avoid this if I wanted to work. I really had to deal with this crap by, taking the shot. Patriot Fever, appreciate you coming by, sir. Uh, that's a repeat of the first story there, AOC down south. But it's also coming out to be just one of these very blatant things. If you mandate this and you jack some people off, if you jack people up, you are going to be responsible for posing that situation. Now, the thing that's really sick is in the United States, the first thing the government did was said, oh, no, this is an experimental vaccine. You can't hold the drug companies responsible. Well, if an experimental vaccine is what you're throwing at everybody, you can't mandate it under emergency authorization. That is not an established, accredited, safe, efficacious medication. You can't put mandates in place there. Also, with the law that was voted in by Bill Clinton, signed off by Bill Clinton and all the rest of that fun stuff, you can refuse any medical treatment. You are not required to take a mandate shot. So the other thing too is also the sheer law side of this is if a job forced you to take the vaccination and you got sick from it, and if you were put under the predisposition to have to get the shot to continue to work in that workplace and you were injured, you might not be able to sue the drug company and you might not be able to sue the federal government, but you sure as, I really, really want to cuss here, but you sure as heck can sue the ever-living hell out of your employer for mandating that you were forced to take a non-approved medication under emergency authorization to continue working there. Stand by on that one, folks. I think a lot of companies are going to look long view on this one and say, oh, crap, we really shouldn't have done that. Yeah. They're really going to be regretting that one. This one, I'm just one of those guys who's pretty much going, really? Try. Just try to do that to me. We'll see how things work out. This is another one coming in from truthpress.news. And the statement is, quote, will be used whether we like it or not. The developer of the COVID microchip says there is no stopping the rollout. The developer of the COVID microchip, which is embedded under the skin, hit back at critics and said there's no stopping the rollout. Microchips are gaining popularity in Sweden, and now Swedes are getting COVID vaccine passports implanted in their hands or elsewhere under their skin. I don't know about Mark of the Beast, folks, but I truly would never, ever get something like that stuck in my body for the very simple reason is I'm not a canine. I'm not a cat. I don't need to be microchipped, okay? I can provide enough identification for you guys to know it's me. And if you don't want to authorize me to do the things that I'm trying to do using my authorization and ID, guess what? You really don't need my business. Quote, get the COVID certificate in a chip in your hand or elsewhere under the skin. It's increasingly popular to insert the chip in your body. With different types of information, you're now going to insert your COVID certificate in the chip. Afterbladet, Sweden's daily newspaper reported last year, and I'm really probably chopping that name up, but I don't speak Swedish. Skeptics and critics slammed the scannable COVID vaccine passport as invasive. However, the developer says, too bad, technology's here and will be used whether we like it or not. It might be used in some places, but it is sure as hell not going to be mandated in the United States. And I can tell you for a very good reason why is, number one, it will create a civil war. Guaranteed. Created by the tech startup Disruptive Subdermals, and that's DSRUPTIVE, Disruptive Subdermals. The controversial invention is made by a pre-programmed scannable implant 2 millimeters by 16 millimeters in size. That's about the size of a grain of rice, a big grain of rice. The invention received a lot of attention when it first announced, with some describing it as quote-unquote invasive. Gee, do you think? But speaking to express.co.uk, Hannes Sabloblad, Managing director of Disruptive Serve Terminals fired back at critics. He said that this technology exists and we use whether we like it or not. I'm happy it's brought to public conversation. New technology must be broadly debated and understood. Smart implants are a powerful health technology. And what if it causes cancer? And what if it causes other secondary issues? There's been a lot of people that said, yeah, chipping your animal is required. There's been some animals that actually developed cancer from the chips, okay? So let's be perfectly honest here about all the health aspects, positive and negative. Microchipping is voluntary for now, but get some time and COVID tyrants will make it mandatory in order for people to participate in society. No kidding, okay? Mark of the beast, I don't know about all that, but I'm not letting some asshole stick that crap in my body. Just not happening. I don't know if you guys heard about this one or not, but supposedly the Let's Go Brandon thing, it's got legs. Oh, my stars and garters. I cannot begin to tell you how this cracks me up to hear about this one. And yeah, this is another one from Truth Press. For some reason, I've just been finding a lot of really good stories there. And I really, truly just thought it was just really funny to see these things. So I'm now looking at like a bunch of news stories that popped up, and obviously I'm clicking other links. Patrons Fever in the room. Wouldn't Facebook jail re-education certificates serve as a dude ID? Well, most times I just go back to the cooler with my baseball and glove and just start driving the Facebook fact checkers nuts by going, but don't catch, but don't catch, but don't catch, but don't catch. Just like it happened in The Great Escape. It's just too much fun. All right. Anyway, obviously you guys know the namesake for, Let's Go Brandon. Okay. So I'm just going to say FJB. All right. And everybody knows what FJB is. Just like that parrot joke I told you guys a couple weeks ago, you know exactly what it means. Okay. So the Let's Go Brandon thing, coined by the news skank that was like interviewing the guy, Brandon Brown. Yeah, supposedly they now have gone a little bit more than a little bit woke because they're now kirking out because a guy has got on his car. NASCAR is now reviewing a deal made last week between driver Brandon Brown and a cryptocurrency meme coin named after him, LGBcoin.io, which stands for the viral name stands for the viral meme, Let's Go Brandon. According to Mark Marucci, a spokesperson for Brown's team, the NASCAR gave the team written approval on the sponsorship and paint scheme late last year. It said the team went through the usual sponsorship approval process, CNN reported. Marcucci said that the NASCAR called following in the announcement and acknowledged the team that had received approval and, quote, apologized for any confusion and miscommunication, but said the quote-unquote deal needs to be reviewed at a higher level. Maybe they're just realizing just how bad it's going to look for this car to be smoking around the track with Let's Go Brandon on the tail. Fox Business added in a statement provided by Marcucci, Vanderbilt Motorsports received approval by the sponsors received approval on the sponsors from a NASCAR racing operations official on December 26th. According to the statement, approval of the partnership was unambiguous, as an opening portion of the email from the official said sponsors are approved. The statement acknowledged that the NASCAR official offered feedback on a minor graphic design change, quote, to ensure legibility on the track at 170 miles an hour, end quote. Quote, we'll continue to work with NASCAR, look forward to resolving the matter and clearing the air as soon as possible, the statement read. This is just funny, man. Quote, we are thrilled to partner with Vanderbilt Motorsports and Brandon Brown for the 2022 NASCAR Xfinity Series season, said James Cartulis, LGB Coin HODLER and founder of Typhoon Capital Management. Brandon is not only an incredibly talented driver, but also a thoughtful individual, wise beyond his years. His commitment and singular focus on the profession is inspiring, and his professional story is what we all be proud of, an American story of success and perseverance. Brandon is truly America's driver. We are proud to support Brandon this season, help him continue an American dream. If we do our job right, when you think of us, you'll hear, let's go, Brandon. You'll think and feel, let's go, America. The slogan began October on NASCAR race in the Talladega Superspeedway in Alabama when NBC sports reporter Kelly Savast was interviewing driver Brian Brown after he'd run the race. As Savast interviewed Brown, blank Joe Biden chants broke out in the stands, but Savast claimed they were chanting, let's go, Brandon. The Let's Go Brandon slogan has since become code for blank Joe Biden, and it's commonly used at sporting events and various other locations. I cannot do this justice. This guy, who this investor is with this Bitcoin, dude is smart. I mean, this is how you handle this stuff. Is you seize the lightning, okay, man. You see the lightning in the teapot, whatever it is, but that guy really truly sees the long view on how to do stuff right. Let me see. Scrolly. Oh yeah. Let's give it 1 second here. Let's see. I was just looking back at Facebook here. I got like people saying hey and whatnot. So I got 2 chat rooms going. Anyway, this one I thought was completely might be not the right branch of service, but I'll tell you what, man, the SEALs just absolutely are complete and total badasses. So another story coming in from truthpress.news. For some reason, I seem to just really finding a lot of good news stories there. So I'm referencing them quite a bit this week. The Navy SEALs. Did I mention they're badasses? Yeah. Yep. So the Navy SEALs have won a legal victory against the vaccine mandate, and an injunction has been issued. Why? Oh, because they're SEALs and they're badasses. Yeah, okay. I think they got it, sound guy. Anyway, so essentially what it was is these guys, and let me put this in perspective. When you join the SEALs, you don't just join the SEALs. First off, you join the UDT and you become a frogman. Translation, underwater demolition training, all that stuff. You got to know what you're doing before you even get your way into the SEAL platoons, okay? Minimum amount of training for you to become an active SEAL is probably about 1.5 years, almost 2 years, okay, of constant training from you being an active member of the U.S. Navy. You don't just join the Navy and go, I want to be a SEAL. No, you have to be a member of the U.S. Navy to then apply to become a U.S. Navy SEAL, okay? It's not like you just go, oh, I want to be a SEAL and join right up. No. You don't just go boot camp and go UDT and then go to SEAL school and all right. No. It's even longer and more drawn out than that, okay? You don't just go, I want to be a SEAL. No, it's very, very hard to get into, okay? But federal court has granted a preliminary injunction on a group of 35 Naval Special Warfare Service members, translation SEALs, among them 26 Navy SEALs who sued the Brandon administration, Biden administration, for denying them religious exemptions to the COVID-19 vaccine mandate. Now, remember when I said 1.5 years, if not more training? Every SEAL cost the U.S. government no less than $1 million to $1.5 million minimum to get them to be combat effective guys going out, kicking ass, taking names, and all the rest of that fun stuff. They're not cheap to make a SEAL. The preliminary injunction issued by the United States District Court for the Northern District of Texas stops the Department of Defense from taking any actions against the group for refusing to jab while the litigation plays out. Hang on a second. The nonprofit law firm First Liberty Institute had filed a lawsuit and motion for a preliminary injunction on behalf of the Navy service members on November 9, 2021. The Navy service members, in this case, seek to vindicate the very freedoms. Seek to vindicate the very freedoms they sacrificed so much to protect. Judge Reed O'Connor said in his order on Monday, the COVID-19 pandemic provides the government no license to abrogate those freedoms. There is no COVID-19 exception for the First Amendment. There is no military exclusion from our Constitution. He wrote, Defendants must provide more than the broadly formulated interest in quote-unquote national security. They must articulate a compelling interest in vaccinating the 35 religious service members currently before the court. Without individualized assessment, the Navy cannot demonstrate a compelling interest in vaccinating these particular plaintiffs, he wrote. In another part of order, he said, by all accounts, plaintiffs have safely carried out their jobs during the pandemic, even if the defendants have a broad, compelling interest in widespread vaccination of its force. They have achieved this goal without participation of the 35 plaintiffs here. At least 99.4% of the active duty Navy service members have been vaccinated. The remaining 0.06% is unlikely to undermine the Navy's efforts. Now, I can't tell you the exact, and I don't know the exact number, and I'm not even going to hazard a guess. But in the entire Navy, if there's more than 3,000 Navy SEALs, and I'm saying that number very loosely, I'd be very, very surprised. They are a very small component of the U.S. Navy, and the U.S. Navy actually has quite a bit of manpower. I mean, if you think about it, let's see here. U.S. Navy personnel numbers. U.S. Navy only has, 300,000? 332,000? So we're actually at a very low point of U.S. Navy personnel right now, but that's 1%, not even 1% of all that going on. And these are special warfare guys. They are used very, like we're not going to talk about a type of missions, okay? They do some very unique stuff. Let's see. Forcing a service member to choose between faith and serving the country is abhorrent to the Constitution and Americans' values, he said in a statement. Punishing SEALs for simply asking for religious accommodation is purely vindictive and punitive. We are pleased that the court has acted to protect our brave warriors before more damage is done to our national security. So that's the General Counsel for First Liberty Institute. Mike Berry said the group is happy with the court's decisions. That's his statement. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin on August 24, 2021, issued a memorandum saying that all military service members must receive a COVID-19 vaccine, and after which all the branches of the military announced various deadlines for its troops to be fully vaccinated, regardless of whether they had previously recovered from a bout of COVID-19, and threatening suspensions or other disciplinary actions if service members didn't have a pending exemption request or failed to comply. How about the fact that maybe these guys applied for this, seeking a religious exemption, and of course the U.S. military is like, yeah, that's nice, but you don't really fight for God, you fight for us. And it's like, dude, what happened to God, country, and family and all the rest? No. You listen to us. We'll tell you how things are. Even guys in the service are allowed to be represented and fight the good fight. I don't know if you guys even heard about this chick, but I've been kind of following this story off to the side a little bit. But there's a chick by the name of Elizabeth Holmes. I think they actually did a movie about her, because they're so brown-nosed and so in the tank for this chick. But she came up with a company called Theranos. And just give me 1 second here. So basically what it was a blood testing startup. Well, it's been found out that basically she was a Ponzi scheme thieving little, how do I say this without saying this? You have anything there, sound guy? How do I say this without saying this? Was she really just a
juggling thunder?
Okay, yeah, I'll take that. Yeah, she's one of those. Okay, yep. Okay, so she's definitely one of those. Juggling thunder, meow. Yeah, she's definitely one of those. So anyway, in the process of her screwing everybody over, taking cash, showing no ability to generate any kind of company, anything. I mean, she's basically a scammer. But she was charged with 11 counts of fraud for her role in deceiving investors and patients. So the jury found her not guilty on 4 charges of wire fraud against patients and deadlocked on 3 charges of wire fraud against the investors from Bloomberg. Holmes fell from her status as chief celebrity chief executive to, hang on a second here, got this stupid thing popping up. Celebrity chief executive to convicted felon marks one of the most dramatic descents in Silicon Valley history. After deliberating for 7 full days, jurors agreed Monday with prosecutors that Holmes lied to investors over several years about the accuracy and the capabilities of Theranos blood analyzers. Holmes rose to prominence in her promise of a revolution in healthcare based on her claims that the compact Theranos devices can perform hundreds of diagnostic tests faster, more accurately, and cheaper than traditionally bigger the machines. The big selling point of the Theranos analyzers could arrive at a home, or rather the results with just a pinprick instead of vials of drawn blood. Holmes cited her own fear of needles as inspiration for the invention, part of the narrative investors and public heard over the years as promotion for the technology. 2015, the Wall Street Journal published stories pointing to flaws in Theranos technology, which led the regulators following years to conclude the machines posed a danger to patient health. Oops. Revelation triggered civil lawsuits, including one Holmes settled with the Securities and Exchange Commission and the Justice Department investigation and prosecution. Holmes, Balwani, and Walgreens, customers of the drugstore chain in Arizona lawsuit. Her attorneys claimed that Theranos tried her best for 15 years to make Theranos successful. While she failed, she was not a criminal. However, several former Theranos employees testified about the shortcuts the lab took to cover up the analyzer's inaccuracies. Yeah. Okay, well, what did they find her guilty of? Well, conspired to commit wire fraud against investors in Theranos between 2010 and 2015. Wire fraud in connection with a wire transfer of $38,336,632 on or about February 6, 2014. Wire fraud in a connection with a wire transfer of $99,999,984 on or about October 31st, 2014. Wire fraud in connection with a wire transfer of $5,999,997 on or about October 31st, 2014. So if you do the math, she's got like some seriously high dollar problems here. Almost $150 million of defrauding people. Ouch. Holmes was a darling of Democrats in Silicon Valley and nationally. Of course, she's like, sitting in a picture besides Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton. Birds of a feather. But you wouldn't know that from the mainstream media coverage, including this from Bloomberg, which mentions James Mattis as a witness, but shockingly doesn't mention David Bowie's at all. Parade of witnesses told jurors about being gravely misled by a Stanford University dropout turned entrepreneur. They range from executives at Walgreens and Safeway to James Mattis, the former U.S. Secretary of Defense, who served on Theranos' board. It's as if they want to obscure Holmes' tight connection to the Democrats and emphasizing any connections she had to the Republicans. But as the Washington Free Beacon pointed out, Barack Obama and Bill and Hillary Clinton absolutely fawned over Holmes. I'm sure Bill's probably doing more than blood testing with her. Hillary Clinton even planned a fundraiser with Holmes in March 2016, but even the lefty press called her out on it. Holmes was already in pretty deep water by then, and the event was relocated to a Tech Bros house. Still, Holmes was out front and center. Perhaps Hillary is being influenced by David Bowie's, who is Theranos' lead counsel. Back in 2016, Vanity Fair article detailing the last days of Theranos notes the name of the law firm here, but they weren't quite digging at Bowie's himself. Yeah, I mean, it's bad juju, but they were just like, just loving her. Yes, Martinez Sasquatch, that guy. Mattis, that guy. Yeah, I don't know why he's not up on a little bit of trouble himself there. Yeah. All right. This one is one that probably should be one of those take to heart type of things. And I can tell you for a fact, anybody that ever goes in the woods, and I'm talking like deep woods. I'm not talking like, you just go out to the little whatever it is behind your house and fart around back there. I'm talking deep woods, okay? Like, you're out in the middle of the hinterlands and you're dealing with something that potentially could take you down, have you for dinner, good stuff like that there. Yeah. Well, anyway, so the situation is a couple guys were out doing some elk hunting in Wyoming. This story is coming in from ammoland.com, and it is a story that perhaps you guys might want to take to heart if you find yourselves in the hinterlands and the choice of hardware that you might want to have on your person. Anyway, so September 27, 2021, Tyler Bernard was guiding a father-son pair of elk hunters in Wyoming near Cody. So pretty far out there, near the Two Oceans Pass in the Teton Wilderness. It's part of the Bridger-Teton National Forest, a few miles from the southern border of Yellowstone. Hey, boo-boo boy. The rifle season started on September 20. The temperature in Cody was near 85 degrees, well above average. They just shot a bull elk and had followed the blood trail for a mile before it dwindled, and then it was lost as the sun dropped below the horizon. They looked again on the 28th. On the morning of the 29th, they'd given up. It was a very nice bull. A little after 8 a.m., they were on the game trail in the area. Then they smelled it, the hint of a dead elk. They couldn't see the animal. It was likely the bull they had shot. By law, they were required to take possession. They'd left their rifles on their horses and decided to look over the curve of the ridge. Mistake number one: never, ever leave your long gun behind in potentially dicey areas. Ever. Especially when you start smelling like stuff like that. You have all your big predator animals. Just, if you're smelling it, okay? If you're smelling it, you got to remember the bobcats, the cougars, bears, all these other big, mean, nasty critters can smell that from way further than you will ever smell it. Also, the fact that they run about 4 times faster than you over a distance means you want the long distance reach of a rifle. Don't leave your long gun behind. Mistake number one. The rifles on the horse decided to look over the curve of the ridge. The direction indicated was over a slope with plenty of blowdowns and young pines. Because of the terrain and the trees, the visibility was only 20 to 25 yards. The plan was to pin it with their Garmin, the GPS, place a tag on the elk, then return to base camp and send a recovery team in to salvage the carcass. Tyler had his 10 mil Glock pistol loaded with Buffalo Bore 190 grain hard cast bullets. That is what you really want to have on your side, mostly because, a Glock 20 holds 16 rounds of 10 millimeter ammunition. The best thing about it is that is very close in ballistics to something not too far off of 41 Magnum. Now, I've shot 10 mil, and I got 345 ACP pistols. The 10 mil to me actually kicks slightly less than the 45. The recoil impulse is more like a little snap, like a 9 mil, but it's a nice rolling snap. It is a very pleasant pistol to shoot and shoot quick. So anyway, the father had bear spray with assault in the name. That stuff, bear spray, is blanking useless. So had the 45. The son had a 45 ACP with a red dot 15 round stick and hollow point plus P self-defense ammunition. Father also had bear spray. So the hunters and Tyler are separated by 10 to 15 yards, maximize their chance to find the elk quickly. Tyler just crossed over a large deadfall. On top of the log was about 3 feet to the ground. He heard the son say calmly and distinctly, "Hey, there's a bear." The son had seen the bear from about 20 yards out. Now, if you guys know anything about bears, bear can go from 0 to you in like no time at all. They are insanely fast. They can change direction really quick, and something that's, that damn big, that damn mean is incredibly agile. Trust me in that one. Bears are just badasses. So Tyler looked back. He saw the bear in full charge from the hunters at about 15 yards and immediately said, "Shoot it." Many things happened in the next few seconds. People back at the base camp said the sequence of shots took about 15 seconds. To the participants, it seemed much longer. And it does. When you have that kind of adrenaline hit, time slows down. The son fired the first shot. Tyler believes it hit the bear between the eyes, about an inch high. Well, The eyes on a bear tend to be about the level on top of the brain case. Later, Tyler poked his finger in the hole. He said he could feel the skull below it. The bullet never touched the skull. So literally, it just went, it just kind of skimmed over in the skin and fat, and the bear was like, now I'm mad. So anyway, there is hide and meat and fat above the eyes, but no brain case. Depending on the angle, if the nose of the bear is pointing at you, a shot between the eyes will miss the brain by about 1.5 inches or 2 inches lower, and the charge would have been stopped by the shot. The best way to reach the brain of a bear is to shoot it up the nose. The nose channel guides directly into the brain. People tend to shoot high on charging bears. The bear kept coming, but was slightly slowed. The father had deployed his bear spray. The bear blasted through the cloud with no visible effect. In the eddy of the breeze swirled, and some of the spray came back into the eyes of the three men. Fortunately, it was not enough to disable Tyler and the son from shooting. Tyler immediately hopped back over the big deadfall and started to run towards the hunters. His path was roughly parallel to the bear's path, separated by about 10 yards. The son had continued shooting. Tyler believes the son had fired about 6 spots by the time Tyler reached a little opening in the trees. The bear's charge had been retarded by the shots. The bear was about 10 yards from the clients and closing fast. And it was about 10 yards from Tyler, who was off to the side. Tyler was able to shoot it through the opening in the trees and hit the bear 3 times through the ribcage. The bear was mortally hit, but did not realize it yet. It takes from seconds for minutes for lung shots to kill a bear. So this is called tachypsychia. Everything seems to be happening in slow motion. Tyler remembers seeing the slide on his Glock come back with every shot. He saw the brass ejecting. He did not hear his own shots, but he heard the shots of his son. Tyler was focused on the sights. They were very clear. Tyler was thinking, moving, and shooting faster than he'd ever had before. Tyler was reporting the son remembering seeing the red dot on his pistol sight on the bear for every shot. The bear continued to advance, slowed by Tyler and his son's shots. Tyler advanced to a position a few feet to the side of the son, shooting a couple more times on the run. The bear continued to charge toward him, but had been slowed by the multiple hits. Tyler remembers he and his son shot and shot and shot. The pair fired a total of 31 shots. Numerous hours of the range paid off for the son. He finished one magazine and completed a speed reload while Tyler was still shooting. There was a few cases where a person had been attacked by a bear and was able to reload. This is the first I've encountered where the reload was accomplished while the bear was charging. As the bear got within 10 feet, its speed had slowed considerably. Tyler is concentrating on chest shots. Tyler believes he broke one or both shoulders. The bear veered hard right into a tree. Tyler took a step forward and shot the bear into the side of the skull through the brain twice. The buffalo bore bullets penetrated through the brain, lodged in the skull on the other side. The distance was 5 feet. The deadly fight was over. Now, let me put this in perspective for you. A 10 millimeter, 190 grain bullet, that is not a light load. But if you've ever seen the skull on a bear, it's like basically shooting into a cinder block, okay? They have insanely thick bone structure on their skulls. They are not built for light duty, okay? Trust me on this one. Later on, they said no shots had hit the spine. The bear had a thick layer of fat, which acted as the armor for the sorts. 2 shots of the plus P45 ACP hollow point bullets were recovered under the hide in the fat. Several of the hits were on the top and side of the neck, going down to the shoulders. Tyler believes the 45 bullets had not penetrated into the chest cavity, but most of the bullet paths were not followed to see which came from which caliber. They knew the side shots had been from Tyler's 10 millimeter. The frontal shots could have been from either shooter. The shot above the eyes had to be from the 45 because the angle is different from the bear close, and Tyler joined the sun, shooting at the advancing bear. The bear had been hit so many times, the investigator gave up counting 16 holes. All of the shots were in the front half of the bear. The bear had a number tattooed on his lip. It had been handled before. It was a grizzly bear and about 500 or 600 pounds, according to the investigator and the biologist. Tyler believes his shots from the buffalo bore bullets were the only effective shots. I'm not so certain. If the son had not shot, it seemed unlikely Tyler had been able to put all the shots in the bear before it reached the hunters. Both parties played critical parts. The incident shows the advantage of deep, penetrating bullets. We do not know the dynamics of each shot because the complete necropsy because the complete necropsy was not necessary. Some of the son's shots may have penetrated in the chest cavity. We do not know. Penetration of 11 to 13 inches is common with aggressive self-defense hollow points in a 45. A bullet in the side of the neck from the front angling down to the chest could have traveled through so many inches of fat to have to reach the chest cavity. Healthy bears can move much faster through rough terrain than any humans can. It's unlikely children have been able to reach the hunters with a bear unless the bear had slowed down by the shots which had hit it during the charge. The clients were understandably concerned and scared of possible legal actions after being forced to shoot a grizzly in self-defense. They knew they needed to contact the authorities right away. There was no cell phone coverage. Tyler was able to borrow a satellite phone. They were not able to contact the outfitter. They were able to contact the owner of the ranch. He agreed to contact Game and Fish. The hunters and Tyler assured the investigators on the way. Tyler and the hunters went to camp, resting when the people in the red shirts appeared. Red shirts are part of the uniform for Wyoming Game and Fish personnel. Tyler was assured they were the investigators. They were not. They were just fishing game personnel, happened to be in the area, visiting the camp only a few hours after the bear attack. Tyler told them about what happened. They made contact with the federal fishing game guys who gave the red shirts permission to do the investigation. The investigators interviewed the participants, returned to the site of the attack, reenacted the attack pictures taken in the field. Field examination of the bear carcass was done. It was obvious the attack had been real. It had been reported. The response to defense itself and others have been justified. The elk was found. It was partially covered by the bear. So it became a food fight. The bear was like, no, that's mine. I'm eating that. And everybody was like, oh, well, okay, we just happen to be here. And the bear's like, nah, I don't care. You're humans. I'll eat you too. So grizzlies, and I can probably go into this more and more and more, but nobody's going to get prosecuted on this. This is a good shoot. But the thing about it is people have to understand that grizzlies are nasty. Black bears and brown bears rarely get killed unless it's a mother bear with a couple of cubs, because then they get aggressive because, well, they're wimps. They see people and they run off. Grizzlies are close to being endangered because grizzlies have this mindset of, oh yeah, I see you. Fight's on. And that's just the way grizzlies roll. You have to kill a grizzly. There's no other way around it. You have to kill a grizzly. Grizzlies in the greater Yellowstone ecosystem have been conditioned to believe humans are not a threat, at least for the last 50 years. They are especially bold and more likely to attack humans than in other areas where grizzly bears are actively hunted. The natural aggressiveness and natural armament makes them a deadly threat to any human who inadvertently crosses an invisible line. Tyler reported the fishing game guys were likely the noise and hunters were making triggered the charge. Others say made an advice to make noise to prevent charges. So the problem is overabundance of aggressive grizzly bears has been known for some time. Interviewed 2 years ago, Brian Nesvik, head of the Wyoming Game and Fish, noted that the department heads had been tied. Lastly, grizzly bears continue to be an important issue for the state. There's little disagreement that grizzly bears in Greater Yellowstone are recovered, but we don't have state management, so we work towards fighting what it accomplished, or figuring out what it is accomplished. That is priority for the department and priority for the state. Most of the problem comes from groups outside the state, which have large financial resources and no skin in the game in Wyoming. So yeah, it gets really sticky with those things. But I'll tell you what, man, you better be carrying something a bit more than just self-defense bullets, okay? You better have something that's really going to punch a good deep hole, and you better be carrying at least something that starts with 10 millimeter. I wouldn't feel too terribly bad off carrying my 357, but I'd be carrying some 180 grain bullets, and they'd be some seriously deep penetrating, nasty motherfathers. Martinez Sasquatch, why didn't they have at least a shotgun with slugs or 45-70s? Good question. You know, I would have had the classic loading that most people tend to do. If you're in bear country with a 12 gauge, what you really tend to do is you go pretty much like, you know, buckshot, and then the rest of the magazine is slugs. So it's like you go stop. Okay, now the fight's on, and you're hitting them with, you know, as much ass as you got to punch holes in the bear and stop him. Because nothing really takes a 12 gauge slug and shrugs it off and goes, that's nothing. No, you really need to do that. CLUS, grizzlies and brown bears, no, they are not the same animal at all. Blacks and browns, basically they're wimps. They just see people and they're like, I don't want to deal with that. Especially if you're making noise. They're just like, I'm out of here. Especially brown bears. They're really wimps. Black bears are small. We actually have black bears in the state of Maryland, but they rarely get over 200 to 250 pounds. I mean, they're little guys. Just give me 1 second here. But the grizzlies, 500 to 600 pounds, that was a small grizzly. I've heard of them being like, 700, 800 pounds, easy. You get the big Alaskan guys, man. Those things get absolutely massive. And they will take on elk. They'll take on moose. They'll take on anything because they know they're the baddest mother fathers in the valley. And they can take down and eat anything they want. And they're fast. A bear on a sprint is ridiculously fast. Same problem as people tend to have with alligators. They don't realize an alligator on the ground actually is really flipping fast. Those little itty bitty legs, man, they're trucking. CLUS, few bears have ended up here in Great Falls over by McLean, Virginia. Well, I'm sure those yuppies were probably crapping kittens seeing that, man. McLean. Oh, man. Too funny. I don't know if you guys caught up with this one or not. This one is probably gonna be my last story of the night, but I cannot do this justice. This is one of those ones that kind of just makes me laugh. I mean, there's no other way to say it. It's coming from analyzingamerica.org, but Joe Kaka's numbers are in, and let's just say that they're not good. They're really, really not good. So how can you say his numbers are they're looking like yeah, so Joe Kaka, his approval numbers are looking like yeah, they're just not doing good. Okay. So anyway, looking at Kaka, because he is Kaka, Joe Kaka's approval rating has appeared to have rock bottom, even falling below the worst vice president in U.S. history, his running mate, Kamala Horizontal Harris. A recent Gallup poll shows about 44% of Americans approve of the job Harris is doing. Only 43% approve of the job Biden is doing. Oh, man. Yeah, he's definitely Kaka now. Because most people go, okay, let me take a hard look at how things are going. Gas prices, inflation. No. I'm done. Okay. Beside the fact that you're really truly afraid that in the White House you're going to hear,
I've fallen and I can't get up.
Yeah.
It was at this moment that he knew he fucked up.
Yeah, 43% approve of the job Biden is doing. This is in his very first year of sitting as an acting U.S. president. It's just you expect to see him just kind of sit in the White House, just it's no good can come from it. The guy basically is just President Pooper. Oh man. CLUS think the Bears fall the Potomac into the suburbs. Wow. So anyway, looking at 43%, but it doesn't come as a major surprise. Hardworking Americans suffering the devastating consequences of his left-wing agenda. Democrat pollster, whoever, conducted surveys about her in 2020 admits, we all know that voters are in a sour mood. Dude, you guys are doing it. Claim responsibility for your own bad activities. Regarding support from independent Hispanic voters, from the voter group perspective, there's two significant shifts which mean a difference between Democrats losing a handful of seats or a wave which takes out 40 seats or more. I'm just done with him, okay? It's enough said that basically his numbers are tanking, and it is what it is, okay? You're looking at the numbers, and they're just kind of it's just done, okay? They're just done. So what is left for him to say? I know that I know myself. No, stop. Okay. I know it's safe enough for him to just basically not count on being reelected. Okay. It's just not gonna happen. No, you're not gonna pull that one out, dude. That's just Yeah, it's done. All right, you're just yeah, it's not happening. That boat has sailed, and you, my friend, will just yeah, you're just gonna meep on out of here. Well, I don't even know if he really could meep. I don't think he's got any meep left to him. There is no just meep. It just safe to say at this point, you hear the door open, and it's like, "Hi, I'm Joe Kaka," and that's the reaction he's gonna get for the time and the perpetuity that he's left. That's going to be what he's getting. Okay, it's just he's not going to be well received. All right, it's going to be like, "Hi, everybody, I'm Joe Kaka," and they're going to go, there is nobody that really truly is having great enthusiasm for him going back into it yet again. It's just not happening. Yes, COUS. I remember the reference there for President Pooper. Yeah, that was yeah, that's why I threw the sharded in there. But anyway, look at us things as it is. Glad to be back. Obviously, I'm back on Facebook yet again. See if anybody else said anything else here. Got no other comments, so that's cool too. But I'm so well, I wouldn't say happy to be back on Facebook, but at least I now can have open conversations with people. I mean, it's not like I gotta go back in the messenger and go, dude, my 30 days and all the good stuff like that there. But anyway, I think I'm gonna break on this one coming in over the 10 o'clock time period. First video of the new year, and also out of fail. How cool is that? Well, it's meta, not so maggot tree kind of Facebook jail. I could really go into really deeper introspective nastiness, but other than that, I shall say no more. Other than the fact that I'm back on, thank goodness I'm back on. It's done. More content coming, obviously. The biggest problem is, of course, with YouTube. You put videos out, and they don't tell your people that you put something out. They just go, well, here's this other lame-ass video from this blah, blah, blah. Yeah, do you want to see this? And you're like, no. 90% of the time I'm on YouTube, I'm like, no, stop recommending me this lame-ass channel. Don't want to see it. Don't want to see it. Don't want to see it. And then it goes, okay, don't recommend channel. Then it throws it at me again. Then I got to go into the channel and block the channel and say, don't recommend me the channel. That's how hardcore you have to go sometimes with the stuff they're really trying to shove down your throat. It is just annoying as hell. And I don't play that because that is just not how I roll. So anyway, I'm going to break up on this one, folks. Equal Cape Thundering as always, you know you love it. And I appreciate you guys hanging out with me tonight. Of course, the video will be in review on YouTube and on Facebook. So anybody that wants to catch that stuff later on, videos will be up and be up for your casual review, rewatching, or just torturing your neighbors. All right, I'm going to break up on this one, folks. Eco Cape Thundering as always, you know you love it. And thank you guys so much for your kind attention. I got many other places to go, but you guys hung out with me today. And Happy New Year's and a belated Christmas. Catch you guys next time, and see you guys next week. See you guys.